What they found shouldn't be there. In the heart of the most remote deserts on Earth, strange structures are starting to emerge. Some glow in the dark, some emit pulses, and some simply vanish once they're seen. Why do identical symbols appear in the Sahara, the Atacama, and the Australian outback? If those civilizations never met, why are mummies with crystal clear eyes being found in caves that aren't even on the map? And the most disturbing part, why do the military always show up before the news ever breaks? They didn't just bury sand, they buried the truth. And now it's coming back, in flashes, signals, and ruins that don't fit our history. But what if this is only the first layer? Do you really believe Earth is what they told you? There's something unsettling about the silence of deserts. It's not just the heat, it's what's hidden beneath the sand that truly chills. Imagine walking miles through an empty wasteland, only to find perfectly aligned stones forming strange geometric patterns, shapes, lines, structures, some of them aligned with stars. How do you explain such precision in places where no known civilization should have been? UFO? Aliens? Science hesitates, but ancient secrets don't. Many of these formations were discovered through satellite imagery, revealing what looks like landing pads, circular platforms, even astronomical measurement systems. Did you know some of them? From the Sahara to the Atacama, align just like Stonehenge or the Great Pyramids. Too precise to be random, too widespread to be coincidence. Could this be the mark of an intelligence not from Earth? UFO sightings often surround these zones. Maybe that's not an accident. And then, suddenly, the areas get shut down. Military patrols arrive. Reports vanish. Locals speak of strange lights, hovering silently in the sky. It's not just ancient structures buried in sand. It's something active, alive, watching. And as we move forward, you'll see how the impossible doesn't stop at stones, but goes deep into technology that shouldn't even exist yet. Now imagine digging into the dry earth of a remote desert and uncovering a polished metal gear, not once, but multiple times. In Egypt, Iran, and even China's deserts, archaeologists have unearthed objects that defy time itself. Metallic components that don't rust. Pieces that look like circuit boards, designs too exact to be handmade. The problem? They're over 4,000 years old, which means someone had technology before the wheel. Strangely, many of these discoveries disappear from official records. Reports vanish. Images get censored. All that's left are blurry photos, private testimonies, and fragments of truth. And the excuse is always the same. There's no scientific evidence. But who decides what evidence counts? Because anything that points to UFOs, aliens, or advanced ancient contact gets buried. Fast. But what if these aren't just relics? What if they're evidence of contact? A magnetic-resistant metal object found in the middle of nowhere doesn't sound like random chance. It sounds like a trace, left behind by something not from here. And the next piece of the puzzle may just lie written into the land itself, visible only from above. Forget digging. Now imagine flying over the Sahara and seeing carved into the earth massive symbols, circles, spirals, perfectly straight lines. These aren't modern marks. They're ancient geoglyphs, visible only from the air. Which begs the question, who were they made for? Definitely not for us on the ground. More like, for someone watching from the sky. UFO, aliens, or sky rituals coded into the soil. For decades, these markings were ignored, left out of textbooks, denied in maps. But they exist, and many researchers now believe they're a language. A visual signal meant for non-human intelligence. A cosmic signal flare, left to be seen only by those who arrive from above. Think of them like QR codes, except for spacecraft. And what's even wilder, these same spiral patterns appear across cultures that supposedly never met, from Inca sites to Aboriginal lands. How do isolated tribes draw the same symbols, in the same patterns, across continents? Maybe they weren't isolated at all. Maybe they were guided by something that moved above them. And in the next discovery, people didn't just see signs, they heard something calling. Deserts don't just kill with heat. Sometimes, they kill with silence. In the 1980s, a scientific team ventured deep into the Namib Desert after satellite scans revealed a strange anomaly. What they found was a hidden cave, sealed under layers of rock. Inside, spiral carvings, unknown symbols, and an eerie echo that made the walls hum. Days later, 3 researchers died. No wounds, no toxins, no known cause. Official reports labeled it sudden multi-organ failure. Case closed. But those who knew the victims said they came back changed, distant, haunted. One man whispered that he heard metallic voices in his head, like someone or something, trying to speak directly into his mind. UFO? Aliens? Or ancient tech still running, just waiting to be found? Some say this cave wasn't just a relic, it was an access point, a gateway to something underground. And those deaths? Not accidents, but a warning. Because when it comes to deserts, the most dangerous thing isn't what you can see, it's what they don't want you to touch. And in the next case, even the animals knew to stay away. There's a spot in the Arizona desert where even birds refuse to fly. Compasses go wild. Electronics glitch. Locals call it the mouth of the sky serpent. And under the silence, strange things happen. Columns of light appear out of nowhere. The air thickens. People feel like they're being watched. Scientists detect no source, no sound, no logic. But those who study it know. This isn't a natural zone. It's a scar, a pulse, a beacon, left by something alien. Military drones fly low over the area. Black trucks patrol the roads. People report low hums and metallic groans beneath their feet, like machinery turning beneath the earth. Some animals freeze mid-step, paralyzed. This place bends the rules. Time feels warped. Some believe it's a dimensional fold, a place where the simulation glitches. And if that's true, who's running it? Videos captured glowing orbs appearing and vanishing midair. Some even seem to watch the observers. These deserts feel silent, but they're watching. They're alive. And in the next discovery, something buried beneath the sand finally woke up and stood tall. Sandstorms usually bury the past, but sometimes they reveal what should have stayed hidden. In Saudi Arabia, after a violent desert storm, explorers stumbled upon something incredible, a giant metallic structure rising out of the ground. Smooth, dark, with flawless edges. In its center, glowing inscriptions, not carved, but embedded, almost as if the symbols were alive. Within 3 hours, helicopters swarmed the area. No media, no warnings. Military trucks blocked the perimeter. Part of the structure was too massive to move, so they buried it again. But not before witnesses captured a few images. And what they saw looked like the foundation of a massive spacecraft. Some believe it's a dimensional anchor, a base for aliens to traverse between realities. UFOs? Maybe, but this time they left part of the ship behind. Touching the metal caused vibrations, pulses that traveled through the body. People said it felt like being scanned. This isn't myth. It's measured. Spectrometers picked up energy surges, frequencies with no known origin. Why hide something like this? Why bury it under sand? Maybe because it still works. And if that's the case, what else might be quietly waiting to activate? Let's shift. Not all mysteries are physical. In a remote village deep in the Australian outback, residents, dozens of them, began reporting the same dream. A glowing being floating over their beds, whispering in an unknown language, showing them a sky map of 3 aligned stars. These people had never met, had no internet, and yet they dreamed the exact same thing. The star map was always the same, a large circle with 3 dots connected by arcs. Astronomers later confirmed it matched the Orion constellation, as seen from outside Earth's atmosphere. Even more shocking, one of the villagers, a 6-year-old girl, drew the entire star system by memory, perfectly. She had no telescope, no knowledge of space. So how did she know? UFO? Aliens? Or is there a form of communication beyond language? The government called it mass hysteria. But that doesn't explain the drawings, the consistency, or the ancient Sumerian tablet found with the exact same pattern. Could this be how they speak to us? Not through metal, but through mind. And what if the next contact doesn't come in dreams, but in echoes trapped inside the earth? Deserts are supposed to be quiet, but in Nevada, the rocks are singing. Scientists placed seismic sensors to monitor ground shifts and began detecting rhythmic vibrations, low, deep tones, with structured intervals. 3 long pulses, 4 short, silence, then the cycle repeats. It's not seismic activity. It's a signal. From where, though? One researcher realized the pattern matched binary code. When converted, it produced sequences similar to known cosmic transmissions, the same kind used by NASA to scan for alien life. This wasn't random noise. It was intentional. Is it an ancient broadcast? A repeating message? Or is something deep underground, still transmitting? Even stranger, the signals stop when people approach. They only return when the sensors are left alone. It's like whatever's down there knows it's being watched. This isn't just a mystery, it's intelligence. And if the Earth is broadcasting, who's on the other side listening? Time moves differently in the Sinai Desert. Hikers report walking for hours, only to find their watches say 7 minutes have passed. Others claim they blinked, took a sip of water, and when they looked up, it was nighttime. These time slips happen in specific zones, places long avoided by local tribes. But what causes them? Nobody knows. UFOs? Maybe something deeper. Digital devices fail here. Clocks freeze. Cameras stop recording. One woman claimed she wandered alone for 10 minutes, but her team said she was gone for 3 hours. When asked where she went, she described seeing a transparent city floating above the dunes. Not a hallucination, a shift, a glitch, a portal, a parallel layer of reality that intersects with ours. Some scientists call these temporal fractures. Others believe they're natural portals used by aliens to travel between dimensions. If time bends in the desert, maybe reality does too. And maybe that explains what archaeologists found next. Something buried in the wrong place at the wrong time. In Mongolia's Gobi Desert, a routine excavation turned into a cover-up. Archaeologists uncovered a humanoid fossil, tall, elongated skull, holding an object resembling a modern electronic device. But here's the twist. The fossil was dated at over 15,000 years old. That's before agriculture, before language. Yet the object looked like a handheld radio. Images leaked online, then vanished. Articles were deleted. The researchers were silenced. But one photo survived, blurry but real. It showed the skeleton gripping the device, wires intact, and the object, identical in shape to 1970s military communication gear. How did that tech end up in the Ice Age? Aliens? A lost human era? Or something in between? Some believe we're not the first advanced civilization, just the latest. And this fossil proves it. A leftover from a time erased from textbooks. If aliens guided early humans, maybe this was one of their messengers. And in the next discovery, we find ruins that cross oceans and rewrite history. Beneath the dunes of the Sahara, something stirred. After a minor earthquake, explorers discovered a sunken chamber filled with pillars, carved, polished, and etched with symbols that looked Mesoamerican. But this wasn't Central America. This was Africa, thousands of miles away. And yet the symbols matched those of the Maya and the Aztecs. How? The pillars were arranged in spirals, an architectural shape symbolizing portals and star travel in many cultures. Researchers found fractal patterns in the carvings, equations used in modern cosmic modeling. But these stones are ancient. No tools, no machines, no known method could explain how they were built. Unless, of course, someone showed them how. Governments quickly closed the area for geological safety. But satellite images revealed a symmetrical entrance and blue light emerging from the cracks. This wasn't a ruin. It was a message. And the next piece of that message came with eyes that still reflected light. In Chile's Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, a mummy was found in pristine condition, skin intact, crystal clear eyes, wrapped in a cloth that glowed in the dark, resisted fire, and couldn't be cut. It wasn't buried deep, just hidden. But what made it truly impossible was what happened next. Scientists analyzed the remains and found proteins unknown to modern biology. The glowing cloth, made of a material not found on Earth, and the eyes, still reflective, behaved like they were alive. The skull had an extra cavity in the forehead, a symbol of enhanced perception. Theories exploded. Aliens, a hybrid being, or a time capsule left behind by another species. The military shut down the cave. Witnesses disappeared. But leaked photos showed a chest symbol, 3 overlapping circles, the same symbol found in crop circles, and Sumerian relics. Coincidence? Or a hidden language, echoing through time? And in the next discovery, that same symbol was pulsing from underground. At the border of Egypt and Sudan, a team of researchers discovered something that shook their understanding of ancient architecture. A stone structure buried in the sand, still active. It emits regular electromagnetic pulses, every 4.2 seconds, with no power source, no cables, no solar connection. It's just there, alive, humming, waiting. The signal follows the Fibonacci sequence. That's right, the same pattern found in nature, galaxies, and even DNA. This pattern has also been detected in alleged alien transmissions. Coincidence? Or were these pulses meant to be read by something not human? Some say the structure is an ancient beacon. Others believe it's a dormant communication tower. UFO researchers argue it's not just ancient, it's extraterrestrial in origin. The moment the data was published, the project lost funding. Security forces seized equipment. No official follow-up. And now the area is under military surveillance. Why so much secrecy around just an old ruin? Maybe because it's not a ruin. Maybe it's still doing exactly what it was built to do. And in the next event, whatever lies beneath didn't wait to be discovered. It rose up, in front of everyone. It was supposed to be a normal air show. Clear skies, jets flying, families watching, until the ground began to tremble. And out of nowhere, a metallic structure rose from the sand in Nevada, twisting, humming, covered in glowing symbols. It wasn't part of the show. It wasn't planned. It was alive. Spectators captured the moment on camera. Then helicopters swarmed in. Military trucks blocked off the area. Some attendees were forced to delete videos. But a few clips leaked online, showing the structure slowly retracting, disappearing into the desert, as if it had never existed. The military called it a light mirage. But the footage tells a different story. Theories flooded the internet. A monitoring device, a buried spacecraft, a warning system. Some believe it reacted to the frequency of the jets. Others think it was a test, not for us, but for them. If that structure activated during a public event, how many more are still buried, silently watching? Because in the final discovery, we'll realize this isn't random. It's a pattern. A map, a network. From above, deserts seem lifeless. But when researchers studied satellite imagery across the globe, they found something chilling. Identical geometric patterns scattered across different continents. The Sahara, the Gobi, the Outback, always the same formation. A spiral inside a triangle, surrounded by dots. Invisible from the ground, perfect from the sky. These weren't natural. They were made, etched into stone, aligned with star systems, and located in areas with known anomalies, time warps, electromagnetic pulses, missing people, and frequent UFO sightings. It's as if they're beacons, coordinates in a planetary grid, a network of markers left behind by something that wants to monitor this planet, quietly. Who has the power to place invisible symbols in deserts across the globe, without tools, without noise, without being seen? Certainly not ancient humans. Not even modern humans. These marks weren't made for us. They were made for them. And now that the grid is being uncovered, maybe we weren't supposed to notice. At least not yet. Now that you've seen all this, tell me what else is buried. While we live our lives pretending nothing's happening, can you ignore the signs? The patterns, the coincidences that vanish the second they're revealed? Maybe it's not about believing anymore. Maybe it's about accepting that something much greater has been operating in the shadows, and we've only scratched the surface. If this video made you question what's real, imagine what the next one might reveal. So do this now. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay close. Because in the next revelation, everything you know might just fall apart.